Welcome. Today we are having a fresh start for being face to face with the organization of knowledge as has reached us as Rigved Samhita. Rigved Samhita is a scripture which is the source scripture. It is the basic scripture. The traditions go that entire range of Vedic values are lively within this Samhita. This Samhita is the oldest scripture of mankind. This scripture is intact with us from its first letter to its last letter. And this range of this Samhita is of 4,32,000 aksharas, syllables. This big is the range, and this range, as the traditions go, is covering the entire range of Vedic knowledge. It also is commonly accepted fact that Maharishi Vedvyas organized Vedic knowledge as quadruple Vedas, Rigved, Yajurved, Samved and Atharved. And Rigved is of 21 branches, Yajurved is of 101 branches, Samved is of 1000 branches, and Atharved is of 9 branches. As per the another school of thought, Atharved is having 15 branches. It further is an accepted fact that each Vedic branch has its distinct Samhita, distinct Brahmana, distinct Aranak, and distinct Upanishad. It further is an accepted fact that each branch has its Upaved. Therefore, the Samhita or Ved is a reservoir of pure values, while Upaved is a reservoir of applied values. Rigved has Ayurved as its Upaved. Yajurved has Dhanurved as its Upaved. Samved has Gandharved as its Upaved. And Atharved has Sthapatya Upaved as its Upaved. We want to be face to face with this organization. We want to imbibe these values, and when we are initiating ourselves for imbibing this domain of knowledge, then we have to begin with the Transcendental Lord, Lord Shiva, a five-head Lord. Rigved Samhita in its Sukta 164 enlightens us that within the letters of the Richas, mantras of the Vedas, are lively the transcendental domains. The transcendental values, the transcendental space is lively within the letters of the mantras. Therefore, 4,32,000 are the aksharas, and as such the transcendental domain is being chased by Rigved Samhita as a range of 4,32,000 transcendental bits. We shall take it that the Rigved Samhita as such is organizing as many as 4,32,000 point reservoirs, bindu sarovars, structured points. Therefore, the knowledge as is organized is of a range of 4,32,000 structured points. These 4,32,000 structured points are being arranged within the creator's space. The transcendental values, the transcendental points are being organized within the creator's space. Creator's space is a four space and it is of a spatial order. It is this format which is of hypercube 4, a spatial order space with 5 space as its origin. Therefore, the transcendental domain as a range of 4,32,000 structured points is being organized within the creator's space, means along the format of a hypercube 4. We know that hypercube 4 is enveloped within a solid boundary of 8 components. This setup of hypercube 4 with solid boundary of 8 components and transcendental origin with hypercube 4 itself being of a spatial order. As such, takes us to a setup when we are having 8 solid boundary components and we are having origin, 5 space playing the role of an origin, 4 space is playing the role of a domain. This setup as such would mean that we shall have the outer layer as 8 structural components, 8 solid components. In between we are having a 4 space domain and at the center we are having a 5 space. This setup as it is will take us to polygon 8. We shall have polygon which will be having 8 sides. This polygon 8 outside and having inside a polygon 4 and within it we are reaching at its center. This is called a Shivalya. Shivalya means the home of the Transcendental Lord. So Shivalya as a home of Lord Shiva means it is a reservoir of the values, transcendental values. Therefore, the formulation Shivalya takes us to a transcendental code value 21. It is 2 and 2. This is 7 and 2. This is 5 and 1. This is 1 and 1. This value 21 we know accepts an organization 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 is equal to 21. And this takes us to hypercube 1, hypercube 2, hypercube 3. Means the representative regular bodies 1, 2 and 3 spaces, then hypercube 4, hypercube 5 and hypercube 6. It is Thapatya Meiring rod. This Thapatya Meiring rod, this Mapdand leads us to Sthapatya Upaved, and it as such takes us to Atharvaved. And Atharvaved as the meaning takes us to that it takes us to a Traividya of a Rigved, Yajurved and of a Samved. Therefore, when we want to reach the organization of Rigved Samhita, and we know that Rigved is of 21 branches. Rigved Samhita is the only Samhita which has reached us intact. In fact, it is the only Samhita available with us of a Rigved. Out of 21, we are having only one, namely Sakal Rigved Samhita. Sakal Rigved Samhita is the only Rigved Samhita which has reached us intact. And we know that this knowledge is a creation as a Shivalya. Therefore, we will be having 21 branches, and how we will reach at these 21 branches is the aspect, is the vision, is the target, is the urge for which we the sadhakas want to imbibe the values of the organization of a Sakal Rigved Samhita. This is a Samhita of 4,32,000 structured points structured with the transcendental values. Therefore, the transcendental Lord, five-head Lord, Lord Shiva, is the overlord of this organization. Lord Shiva means when we go to it is called a Shivalya. This Shivalya is seated within and at the seat of an origin of the creators of space. This takes us to a location of the transcendental domain within the cavity of heart of the transcendental Lord. The cavity of heart of the creators, there is a seat of the transcendental Lord. Lord Brahma, creator the Supreme, meditates within the cavity of his own heart at the seat of a transcendental Lord and multiplies as 10 Brahmas. It is this initiation which is required for us to be parallel with this organization. Now, we know that the Shakla Rigved Samhita is a scripture which is organized as 10 mandals, 8 astaks, 64 adhyayas, 65 anvaks, 1028 suktas, 2024 vargas, 10,552 richas, and 4,32,000 as the aksharas. It is this much range with which we have to reach. And when we have to reach this, then as initiation point, we have to be through the formulations Rigved, Mandal, Astak, Adhyay, Anuvak, Sukt, Varg, Richa, Akshar, Paramviyom, Rishi, Devata, Chandas, and Swara. These 14 formulations are the initiation milestones in terms of which we will be having an initiation within the organization format of a Rigved Samhita. These formulations lead us to the corresponding transcendental code values. Now, when we will be having an urge to be parallel to the organization format of Rigved Samhita, then naturally we would like to initiate ourselves the very first mandal, then in it first astak, first adhyaya, first anuvak, first sukt, first varg, and the first richa. It takes us to again mile purohitam yagyasya devam ritvajam hotaram Ratna Dhatmam. These are the 6 basic formulations which are making the first Richa of the Shakla Rigved Samhita. These 6 formulations as these are on the face of it are leading us to very foundational conceptual formats. Here the first is of again. Now it is one of the elements. It is the third element of the 5 basic elements range: Prithvi, Apa, again, Vayu and Akash. As such, the first formulation as it is taking us to the third element, and this formulation again is a composition of as many as 4 letters: A, Ga, Na and E. These quadruple letters are being availed for this composition, and these 4 letters are having 3 gaps, and it is going to be the third basic element, or it is a element of the middle placement of the range of the 5 elements. Now second formulation is Prohitam. There are the formulations Pur and Purohit. Both are the formulations which deserve to be approached, deserve to be comprehended, and then the third formulation will lead us to formulation Yag, an institution. Step ahead, we are again having a formulation Dev as well as Ritvijam. This pair of formulations, and here we are having a formulation Hota, and here we have a formulations Ratan and Dhatu. This way we see that the very first Richa is having a very strong foundation, and it is along this foundation that whole structure is going to be built. Before proceeding further, we can see that the formulation Aganbile leads us to 4 syllables and 8 letters. Formulation Purohitam as well takes us to 4 syllables but 9 letters. Formulation Yagyasya takes us to 3 syllables but 8 letters. Formulation Devam Ritvajam takes us to 5 syllables and the 12 letters. Hotaram takes us to 3 syllables and 7 letters, and Ratan Dhatnam takes us to 5 syllables and 12 letters. See, the total number of letters are 24. We can have a pause here and see that the first Richa is having a Rishi, Madhu Chanda, Devta again, Chanda, Gayatri, and Sora is Shadaj. See, Gayatri is the meter, is the chand of this Richa, and this Richa is having 24 syllables. It is this organization of 24 letters, aksharas. These 24 aksharas, the syllables, are there, and it is because of it this organization is being of the feature of a Gayatri mantra. And we know that we are having as many as 56 letters. Now see, if we are having a range of 1 to 28 letters, and if we reach at the factors of this range, then it will be 1 factor, here will be 2 factors, as 2 into 2, 1 factor, 2 factor, lower. Then we'll see that ultimately the total number of factors are going to be 56. How 28, which is a perfect number and which is the TCV value of formulation Brahma, creator. How the creator, Lord Brahma, is the range of values which, because of the spatial order, there is a spatial order of a 4 space. 2 space is playing the role of a dimension of a 4 space. Therefore, the values range 1 to 28, the value as it is of a Brahm. Now Brahm, we know Brahma takes us to TCV value 29, and the range of 29 is having, we know, 28 gaps. So Brahm is lively within the heart of the Creator, the Supreme. How the spatial order of a 4 space is making this value 28 as 56, how the Brahm duplicates itself is the feature, and it is this feature which is reflected in the total number of letters being availed by the composition of the first Richa as a composition of 6 formulations. We also know that 24 is equal to 4 into 6, and we also know 24 is equal to 3 into 8. Here we know that if we are working with a cube, then the cube will split into 8 subcubes, and simultaneously we know that a raised to the power 3 is equal to 6b square, that is, the spatial boundary is of 6 components. And further we know that the 4 space is when in the role of a dimension of a 6 space, then it will be creating a creative dimensional frame of 6 creative dimensions, making it value for the dimensional frame of 6 space as 24. This range of the features which are apparently available to us will give us the satisfaction that we are reaching the format, the foundational structural foundation setup of the organization of the first Richa. For it, we see that Devata is Agni, means the domain is the Agni. Now see, the fire god is a god which has a pair of heads. And further we know that each head is having a pair of horns. It is this feature of this god, idol of this god, having for the first part as 3 arms, and for the second part quadruple arms. See, if we are in a 3 space, means if we are in respect of hypercube 3, that is the cube, the representative regular body of 3 space in 4 space, then we know that 3 space will be leading us to 7 geometries range, and the 7 versions of hypercube 3 will be making the representative regular bodies of the 7 geometries of a 3 space. So Agni, the fire, as a domain, as a devata, is leading us to a feature that here the 3-dimensional frame is going to have a split, and the split is going to be in the form of a pair of 3-dimensional frames of half dimensions, and at the origin would be a release of a 4 space. Therefore, the Sukta 1 with its organization is leading us to that there is going to be a split for a 3-dimensional frame. And as a Rishi, we know that Rishi would mean that we have to dive, we shall have a vision, we shall see how the origin of a 3-dimensional frame stands released. That means how 4 space is released, and as a result there happens to be a split of a 3-dimensional frame. So 3-dimensional frame splits, and there happens to be a release of the creator's space, that is a 4 space. So the Rishi as a drashta, as a seer, is parallel to the happening at the origin of a 3 space, and this happening is in the form of a Visphot explosion, because we know that Visphot leads to TC value 29, which is parallel to the TC value of a formulation Brahma, and Brahma is the overlord of a 4 space, and 4 space is the seat of the origin of a 3-dimensional frame. Let us have a pause. Let us be face to face with the way the Rigved Samhita has started unfolding its organization format. The organization format unfolds in the form of the organization format of a first Richa. This unfolding is in terms of the Rishi, Devata, Chandas and Swara, and the Rishi of this is Madhu Chanda. Therefore, we have to, while visualizing, we have to see the formulation Madhu's Chanda. Now see, here there are a pair of formulations, Madhu and Chanda. Madhu formulation takes us to Ma, Adh, U. Means at the middle there is to be a transcendence. Therefore, at the middle means at the origin, at the center, where is a seat of a transcendental domain, which is of a solid order. Therefore, there is to be a transcendence. Let us revisit the format, script format of hypercube of 5. It is a synthetic setup of upper part, upper half and a lower half. It is parallel to the three-dimensional frame of half dimensions and three-dimensional frame of half dimensions. It is here at the middle that there is going to be a seat at the center of the origin of the 5 space. Now see, this split in the form of a dimension will amount to a release of a creator's space, a 4 space, and this 4 space we know plays the role of the dimension of a 6 space, which plays the role of an origin of a 5 space. Therefore, this split at the middle means it will be taking us to the upper part and the lower part division, and at a time we will be working only one of this pair of parts. The upper part as such will be taking us to a vertical line. So vertical line, as we have visualized earlier, is having simultaneously value 3 being the third axis and also value 1 when we start counting the axis with the vertical axis as the first axis. It is this feature which is to be appreciated while we want to be face to face with the way organization format of Rigved Samhita is to unfold itself, and for it the initiation is to be in terms of the first Richa itself, and here the formulation Yajna becomes the basic formulation in the sense that it is this process in terms of which the Rigved Samhita is to unfold itself parallel to the existence phenomenon of our solar universe. Rigved Samhita organization is the universal organization of the existence phenomenon of our solar universe. As such, we can say that Rigved Samhita is the constitution of the universe. This is in fact taking us from Brahm to Brahmand. We know we have to reach from Brahm of value 29 to Brahmand of value 43. In between this stage from Samhita, so from Samhita we will be reaching at Brahmana. Therefore, if we have to reach from Samhita to Brahmana, then we will reach from value 29 to value 37. Now value 29 is a organization 2 into 14 plus 1, and Brahman is a formulation 2 into 18 plus 1. Now 14 is 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, that it is square, it is hypercube 2. And 18 is the value 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6, it is cube, that is hypercube 3. As such, the reach from Samhita to Brahmana is a reach from the format of a square to the format of a cube. And if we have to reach Brahmand, then we know that 29 gives us the value 2 into 14 plus 1, and 43 is 3 into 42 into 1. That means we have to reach from, say, elliptical format where we are having a pair of centers to a setup where we will be having triple centers. The reach from Brahm to Brahmand is a reach from a surface with a pair of centers to a space with the triple centers. Vedic systems are simultaneously working out a surface in terms of a pair of centers and a space in terms of triple centers. And this reach from Samhita to Brahmana as well is going to be from a square to a cube, from a 2 space to a 3 space. And Brahm to Brahmand is going to be a reach from a pair of centers to the triple centers. So reach for the format of a pair of centers to a space of triple centers is going to be a reach from Brahm to Brahmand, while a reach from hypercube 2 square format to hypercube 3 is going to be a reach from Samhita to Brahmana. Therefore, for the sadhakas fulfilled the intensity of urge, to have an enlightenment with respect to the organization of a Sakal Rigved Samhita shall simultaneously be face to face with the organization of Shatpat Brahman. Shatpat Brahman enlightens us that the form of our Vishwa, the Vishwa Roop, means is of the form of a son of Tavasta with triple eyes, with triple heads, hexa eyes, and having triple mouths. It is in fact an organization of a 3 space, but instead of triple linear dimensions, here we will be having triple spatial dimensions. Therefore, the 3 space framed within a 3 linear dimensions is of different organization than 3 space framed within triple spatial dimensions. It is this feature with which the Sthapatya Shatpat Brahman is approaching this physical 3 space. Now this space, which is framed within a triple spatial dimensions, will cut 3 space into 8 octants, and the cube will be split into 8 subcubes. It is this split of a cube into 8 subcubes which will ultimately taking us to a Shivalya. It will be taking us to the format of hypercube of 4, the representative regular body of a 4 space, enveloped within a solid boundary of 8 components and having a transcendental origin. Therefore, the sadhakas fulfilled with intensity of urge to be parallel with the way Rigved Samhita unfolds itself have to be face to face with the way our physical 3 space splits itself into 8 octants, and the way the split of 8 octants as Visphot is parallel to the happening at the transcendental origin of a creator's space. And it is this happening at the transcendental origin is the happening because of the third element, the again. Therefore, the Madhu Chanda, again Gayatri and Shadaj, are the features of the format of a Rishi, Devata, Chandas and Swara, in terms of which we have to approach the unfolding process of Rigved Samhita as a Shivalya. From this stage, we shall be taking up the inward unfolding process of Sakal Rigved Samhita, and this chase is ultimately going to be a chase of inner expansion going parallel with the outer expansion. And it is in terms of this chase we will be sequentially melting our mental state of space framed within triple linear dimensions, quadruple linear dimensions, pentalinear dimensions. And instead, we will be on the processing format of triple spatial dimensions, then quadruple spatial dimensions, then pentaspatial dimensions, and there we will again have a breakthrough while we will be transiting from quadruple spatial dimensions to quadruple solar dimensions, then to pentasolar dimensions, and so on. The process will continue, and it is this process which deserves to be imbibed, and it is by imbibing this process we will be parallel to the unfolding process of the organization format of Sakal Rigved Samhita. And by following this process, by being parallel with this unfolding setup, we will be face to face with all the 21 branches of a Rigved. We are starting with a single Rigved Samhita, a Sakal Rigved Samhita, and sequentially we will be reaching at all the 21 branches of the Rigved as the unfolding process is taking us to Shivalya, and Shivalya is of TC value 21. We will be having a Vishwaroop as is preserved in Shatpat Brahman, and from this Vishwaroop we will be reaching at Juhu, the setup of 4 space hypercube 4, and hence sequentially we will be face to face with the Sakal Rigved Samhita organizing itself as 4,32,000 structured points fulfilled with the structures of the transcendental domain. Thank you very much.